Thank you. Yeah, I'll do also like a two, like I don't want to steal the thunder from you today. It's all focused on you, but I'll just use, a 30-second to quickly share about my background. So originally I came from China and I studied accounting in my undergrad. And I went to work at a accounting firm for about 2 years. Realized, that's not something I want to do for the rest of my life. So I actually went to work at a ramen restaurant and wanted to open a ramen restaurant. And that was one of my first business venture. Of course, it failed. I had to face the reality. Had a lot of loans, so I was like, all right, let's pick out where I left. So I went to work at a company called LKQ in their audit department. Again, 2 years down the road, I still realize, the heart of pursuing as an entrepreneur still haven't died yet. So I kind of pick out where I left, try to exploring different business opportunities while I'm studying at Boost. So yeah, that's something about me. And so that's why when I heard you talk about, how you could help small business, I think there definitely some potential market to be served there. So that's really something interesting me. So Spencer, you want to go ahead and share something very quick about you?
Yeah, sure. Very briefly, my background was originally in economics and finance. That's what kind of I majored in at Vanderbilt. Back in 2015 when I graduated. Did sort of consulting in DC for a couple of years, and kind of realized it wasn't something I wanted to do long term. And I was really kind of super passionate about my first love of economics was really like building communities, like specifically within cities, city of neighborhoods, exactly like Chicago. So I'm actually in the policy school at U Chicago, because I really wanted to like go super focused on that, kind of community aspect. And since I've been here, I've actually gotten much more passionate about the entrepreneurship angle. For better or for worse, business is what drives, feels like almost everything in this country. So if you kind of want to be in the driver's seat around, doing things like you're doing, like empowering small businesses, to have the sort of freedom and flexibility, really, the entrepreneurship is kind of the way to go. And so, I've gotten really big into social entrepreneurship since being here. And I started a kind of like social venture on the side of my own. But, super excited to kind of, get more sales exposure and, the opportunity to sort of, help out similar minded companies like yours. So it kind of brings me,
Awesome.
to our Zoom meeting today.
Yeah, you guys have very diverse backgrounds, but that's good in entrepreneurship, coming from a different angle, a different perspective. That's cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, so yeah, we really wanna, like a part of the meeting, we also want to make sure we actually do some work, So in terms of expectation, which we'll touch base later on. But before that, like a few questions that we have is like one of them being like, so could you talk about maybe like currently what are some of your competitors and maybe how you different from those competitors from your business?
Yeah, of course. So I have a few. I actually have a folder on my phone that I go through all the time of our competitors. It's called with you competitors. But yeah, so if you guys want to, I can send them to you after our meeting too, if you kind of want to look into them and then look at our app too and kind of see how it's different. But a lot of them revolve around mostly coupons. And that is really what we were starting with in the beginning, is like getting these businesses to do special promotions or special offers on our app. But now we're kind of trying to move, not a huge pivot, but more trying to move into saying, okay, anything that you want to communicate to your consumer, you can put it on our app. So it doesn't just have to be an offer or coupon, but if you have some really cool event that's going on, or if your hours are changing or something like that, where like you really don't want to spend money to tell people that, but it's really important information to get out there, that you could also start trying to put that on the WithYou app as well. almost like a marketplace of communication. But some competitors, Snip Snap is one of them. There's one called Coupon Sherpa, Abada, which is like a bigger couponing app. Retail Me Not, that's also a bigger couponing app as well. And kind of what I was saying earlier, those are all fine for the big box retailers where everyone knows their name, but we're really not even, especially like in the beginning of our sales process, we're really not targeting them at all. Like we want to help the very local people that don't have a large marketing budget, may not even know how to use, Canva to create like a cool looking offer, or they may not even know how to market their business. Their social media is not that great. So trying to help them even from the ground up. Like when we sign on businesses, we're working with them directly for like the first few weeks to just like teaching them the ins and outs of what we found, what works for local businesses, what really resonates when you put something on the app, the style, the copy, the creative, all that. So I'd say that would be kind of how we differentiate ourselves from those bigger, couponing apps, just working with the small guys, very one-on-one as well. And who knows if we'll be able to do that once we scale. So, may have to bring on like a whole onboarding person to just work with businesses on like a day-to-day, but that is kind of the goal in the beginning, at least.
I see. So you guys essentially want to target the local business that within someone's neighborhood, right? So that person can just see
Yeah,
what's going on around him or her, right?
yeah, definitely. And then, yeah, because it's kind of a two-sided. We want the business to put their offer on, but on the flip side, as a consumer, if you guys go onto the app and you get something really cool that you get in your mail, this great offer for a local pizza place, you can actually go into the app and upload it and then put it out. So then anyone else that's in, a few miles of West Loop or Wicker Park or what have you, can see a rolling feed of all these other cool, exciting offers that other consumers in the area have uploaded. So that's kind of the consumer side, which for this project, we're just going to be focusing on the business. How can we reach the business owners to sell them on the idea?
I see. So currently, have you guys already started reaching out to, like, same that you guys started the process a little bit? If my understanding was accurate, like where would you mind share a little bit more on, like where you guys are at in terms of, reaching out to the customers and develop have your own customer base?
Yeah, of course. So we launched the app to the App Store, I think in early August. And our goal with that was to keep it very tight knit. This is when I was living back in Naperville, Illinois. So we were trying to keep it very tight knit with like about 100 friends and family, friends of friends, just in the Naperville area, and then bringing on a handful of businesses as well, just to kind of run this beta test for our MVP. So that worked out. We did that for about 3 or 4 months up until right before the holiday. So we were, reaching out to businesses. We had probably like 200 prospects in our funnel, kind of just rolling through that. We only had about, I'd say like 5 or 6 that were actively using it. And that was fine for back then, just so we could work out all the kinks of onboarding people and whatnot. Then we took a break in December. We went back to our developer and then started working on new updates that we had heard people, constantly talking about throughout that beta test that we wanted to implement and change. Some of those included a whole redesign of the home screen, how you can search, how you can scroll. We added push notifications, which was a huge one because someone could upload an offer, and you could say, okay, it's going to expire on April 20th. But even if you upload an offer to your phone, you could still forget to use it. So that was like the whole thing. They're like, okay, this is cool. I have it on my phone, but I'm still forgetting to use it, even if it's on my phone versus, I'm leaving it on my kitchen counter. Both scenarios, you're forgetting about it. So we implemented push notifications too. Yeah, but then on the business side, I think we had 6 businesses that were on board, and their problem was they thought the system was great, but they didn't see the use in it if we didn't have enough consumers that were active on it. So it's kind of the chicken and the egg thing. So then since we actually just finished our updates, took way longer than expected. But we just relaunched our app yesterday, actually,
Oh,
in the
nice.
App Store with all the updates. Yeah, so it's pretty cool timing that we could, work together on this, and that worked out perfectly. So our whole kind of path now, at least for the next month or so, is really trying to get consumers on board. So we're going through, Facebook groups. We're doing paid digital advertising, and that's something that we know really well, and we know what their value propositions are. But like I said, the one thing that we do need help, and why I applied to this for our company, is really how do we get the businesses, and what is our process for that? How do we get them? How do we find them? How do we talk to them? Because I felt like I had a good grasp on it in the beginning, but it's always good to look at it from a different lens, especially when I've been in the business for, a year and a half, and I think I know what they want, or I think I know the space, but yeah, that's pretty much about that.
I see. I see. Yeah. Thank you for for the information. Yeah, it's it's definitely pretty important and necessary to have those business consumers list their ad there, because I think it's what happened is, if we all of a sudden we have a lot of users and they realize, oh, there's only 6 restaurants, or I mean, or sorry, I shouldn't say restaurant, there's only 6 business list their ad on the app, like, then it doesn't really fit my need, and they'll abandon the app, where hopefully
Yeah,
not, so I can definitely see the urgency of having the custom, having the business, having a business on the app. But meanwhile, when the business don't see the consumer, they were wondering, okay, so I can list my ad there, but there is no consumer, nobody can see them. So yeah, that's a
yeah,
very interesting situation.
yeah, definitely.
If you mentioned, it's that you have this focus on the business side, which is great. It's kind of like where you want to focus on. I'm curious, if looking at your customer base, what sort of like growth or traction have you seen there? Has it kind of like been in line with your expectations, or what has that been like?
Yeah, so I'll be honest, it's been pretty slow. We're working with another marketing person as well that we kind of brought on as like a side. She's really into, we did a ton of consumer interviews months and months ago to really like nail down the idea and nail down like what the value proposition to them would be for like getting on the app, where their pain points are, stuff like that. And then we brought her on 2 months ago, and she was really in the dark about everything. So we kind of went back and did a whole nother round of interviews with consumers. And she's really big into, okay, we want to try to grow this organically within different communities instead of just shelling out a ton of money to paid advertising. She wants to find out, even though we say that these value propositions work, she wants to find out if they really do work, so that when we do go to paid advertising, we don't spend a ton of money on things that don't resonate with the target that we're going after. So it's been slow. We've had probably like 50 downloads over the past like 3 weeks, I would say. Through that, we've just been joining local Facebook groups, mom groups. That was kind of one of our targets in the beginning, was like young moms, single moms, people that are trying to really just like reach their, every dollar that they get in, they want to make the best use out of it. And those are also people that are really like want to be in the know, like, oh, this new place opened up down the street, like, oh, I want to know about it, stuff like that. So yeah, it has been slow. but now we're actually starting to talk about starting up paid advertising on Facebook, Instagram, and Google, and then just seeing where that can get us, because we're kind of stuck at that point where, oh, and we're also doing an ambassador program as well. So hopefully that will help get local users, because we're kind of stuck at that point where we've exhausted all our friends and family. We've gone through these groups, and we're going to continue to go through the groups and just, talk about it organically with people and not have to pay anything. But at some point, we have to figure out a better way to scale, especially on the consumer side. But the consumer side's all great, but for the business, they're actually going to be the paying customer. So those are the people that are actually paying to use the app. And for them, they get a whole set of analytics. They can see how many people viewed their offers. They can see how many people redeemed them, how many people saved them, shared them. They can see demographic information. They can add keywords to get more traction on what they're posting, stuff like that.
That's very interesting. I like this sort of like a sort of back office like marketing function that you're offering to them. So it's very interesting. Yeah, I mean, I think that sounds great. But yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, yeah, because that's kind of the thought. Because a lot of, I mean, as we talked to them, months ago, we've talked to probably 20 or 30, and a lot of them, they think everything they're doing is great. They're like, oh, we have this Facebook page and we have this Instagram page, and like that's how we get our name out there. But when you really like boil it down, you go onto their Facebook page and they have maybe one like on their post. And I'm like, okay, is this actually like generating traffic? And how do you track that? So with the app, we're trying to let them, put out an offer. And then if they see it's doing great, you can keep it up as long as you want. If they see it's not doing good, they can take it down. And when you do direct mail advertising, you can't do that at all. You sign on for, a Valpak magazine for 3 months or a month at a time. If you put it out there and it doesn't generate any traffic, then you're kind of screwed. And yeah, those are usually on contracts, where ours is, you can put something out. If it doesn't work for a week, you can take it off. And then with Valpak, you also can't track it. You can't tell if someone's literally getting their mail, throwing it in the trash before they even get into the house, or if they're actually looking through it and saving it. You have no idea really on that standpoint.
I like that. It's a very, even you saying that it's got like getting the wheels turning in my head now, that could be very cool in the sort of sense that, you could like a sort of hand in hand like marketing service that it can almost sort of grow into. But I mean, maybe on the topic of sort of growth and scaling, like, can you kind of just give us a sort of, we talked about, your sort of, beachhead market and go to market strategy, but like to sort of help us like understand where you guys are trying to get to, like where, what's your sort of growth or a timeline for maybe, 12 months, like 36 months, looking out into the future? Like, where do you guys want to see your company kind of grow into?
Yeah, definitely. Great question. So in the beginning, I keep talking about this, the one-off people, the one-off businesses. Eventually, well, obviously we're trying to start hyper local within Naperville just to prove, proof of concept, and then start to move into the suburban areas around there. Wheaton, Glen Ellen, West Chicago, Bolingbrook, Aurora, stuff like that. Once we feel like we have a good grasp of the market in those areas, and our onboarding and sales process is, in line with that, then we want to move into Chicago. So obviously it's a way bigger market, way more competitive, especially with people trying to sell to small businesses. I mean, you have like Yelp, Google, Groupon, Amazon, they're getting calls all day. So that'd be our next step. I would say that would probably be in about 12 months, once we've really nailed down the suburban area. And then also moving more into, we want to eventually make a tiered price plan for the businesses. So it would be based on, number of locations you have, because eventually we would want to get into, the franchise space as well. So they're still not as big as like the big box retailers, but it wouldn't be, as small as the one-off mom and pop. Maybe you have 2 or 3 locations, but it's a little bit more franchised out. And then, 5+ years down the road, assuming that everything goes as planned, we really do want to bring it all the way back to be this one-stop shop for anything that you would be getting in the mail. You could just get on your phone within the app. So on top of the offers and stuff that you're getting from the businesses that we have today, you could also be getting all your bills and invoices that you sometimes still get in the mail, all your utility stuff. If you get like magazines or catalogs that you wanted to be digital, you could just get that on your phone as well. So that would be the very end goal, but that was our vision in the beginning, but we really had to like taper it back a little bit, just because it's super ambitious and it'd be kind of trying to take over the whole mailing system, which is hard. So
Yeah. I mean, I don't think anybody would follow you for starting small. I mean, hey, that's what we're here for.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
I mean, my sort of last question I'm curious about, and then I'll turn it back over to Rudy. I'm curious, with you guys' business being so small business focused, like that's your beachhead market. Like, what is COVID been like? Like, has that? I mean, 'cause it's thrown so many things into flux that I could see it on, maybe on the negative side, it would create a lot of problems. But then maybe on the positive side, like it's really sort of, maybe it's created like so many sort of, stressors in the sort of local business community that, maybe they might be looking for novel solutions like this. Can you kind of like speak to, how have you guys, business
Yeah,
strategy or
definitely.
go-to-market strategy changed?
Yeah, so in the beginning it was hard because I mean, some of the places we were calling up, they were either shut down or they really weren't doing anything. They also didn't want to, they were kind of like risk adverse. So like, okay, I don't really want to like try anything else. Like I'm trying to like just keep my head above the water right now with everything that's going on and just even staying open. As it progressed though, you know, we've gone through these waves, so it's always up and down. But as it progressed, I think now as we talk to people, they're like, okay, we need to do something new um, to propel our business in the right direction. Obviously, everywhere is starting to open back up again. And that's actually good for us because we can really start like promoting these businesses and, having like all the local consumers from our like perspective, everyone's starting to, go back out, going back out to eat, going back out to shops, stuff like that. So it should be helpful for us and there's this whole push behind shop local now, which there really wasn't a huge thing before COVID. So that's something that we've been trying to ride on as well. But yeah, in the beginning, it definitely was hard, but I think, through the middle, people were more in tune with like, hey, we need to try something different because obviously what we're doing isn't working, even if it was mostly the pandemic's fault.
Yeah, I could definitely see, week 6 or month 6 of quarantine, people like freaking out and being like, oh my God, we need marketing, but I have no idea how to do it.
Yeah,
So
yeah, definitely.
yeah,
And it was good then too, because a lot of places were either shut down or on limited hours. So we really got to like, I mean, I would have calls with this little cheesesteak shop in downtown Naperville. She would have me on the phone for like an hour and a half at a time. I was like, do you not have to work?
and she's like,
But she just had like such weird hours. So, I mean, like it was cool because you really got to like talk to them for a long time rather than just like a quick 15-minute call. Like a 15-minute sales call, you really got to like develop a relationship and kind of hear about how they were doing and stuff like that and how they thought that we could help them, which was
nice.
awesome.
It's definitely certainly an interesting time to be trying to help out
Yeah,
small businesses.
I know, it's crazy. But
Yeah.
hopefully, I mean, it really could line up perfectly. And we didn't create it because of COVID, this app. But the idea of everyone trying to shop local now and everything opening back up again, it's kind of almost the perfect timing for trying to promote these local spots that people may not know about or could have been really struggling throughout COVID and stuff like that.
For real.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that was my last question, but Rudy, do you have any You've answered all mine, so thank you. Rudy, do you have
Yeah,
anything
of
else?
course.
For now, I just have a few comments. Like, I definitely think there are a lot of opportunities for with you, Ben, because I think I also have a spa business on the side, and one of the struggle I had was like, how do we let the customer know, okay, we're open now, like. So like it's like, okay, we got to change our hours. So like customers know that we are changing hours and stuff like that. And I think, like maybe, just maybe, COVID will be with us forever. Who knows, right? But
Hmm.
I think, that in your app, there are definitely things that I think, if I heard you right, you also said not only that you want to track, coupons, but also you want to track changes and stuff like that. I think, like, oh, like for some of the business, I mean, I feel like now most of the business are already reopened, but some of the business still closed. How we approach them could be like, we could really help you promote when you start open your business, so that most customer can know you are open now, or something like that. I think.
Yeah, yeah. And it's cool because we're still such a young company that we can really take those like sharp turns and kind of just pivot a little bit with what we're actually offering to the business. Because in the beginning it was all coupons, offers, and promotions, but then once we saw that people were closing down and opening back up, it's like maybe they just want to tell their customers that they're open, or maybe they have this new menu item or event that they want to get out there. So it's cool that we're still young, that we can do, changes like that,
Mhm.
to really help nail down what they need on their end.
Yeah, and well, that's honestly, like, that's really interesting about, what do you do is actually pretty interesting. I like how you focus on small business, small customers and stuff like that. And one quick question, I hope it's not too tricky. I just also
No,
find it out, like, how do you like, what's your plan? Of course, we will, well, later on we'll also have more conversation about it, but how do you convince small business to work with you? Assuming that later on we will have the consumers to look at the app. How do you convince them? Okay, work with me, not work with like other
yeah.
apps. Like, is it because of you have a great cost structure? Or like what kind of your ideas on that?
Yeah, so two things I would say. Definitely the cost, because ours is only, I mean, at least in the beginning, our price point is 2 months free just to try it. We're going to work with you, onboard you, help you with marketing, figure that out. And then it'd only be $50 a month. So you can
Oh,
put on as many offers or promotions as you want, take them down, put them back up, whatever you want. And then usually when we were doing our sales pitch in the beginning, we were targeting people that we actually had direct mail coming in from. So, that local cheesesteak place, they sent us a piece of direct mail. Okay, we know that Valpak costs, it could cost up to like $1,500 a month for a business. So that was kind of our ROI conversation with them. How do you track this? Oh, well, we don't really track it. Okay, well, yeah, we can help you track it, and it's only gonna be $50 a month versus 1,500. And if you don't like it, you can take it off the app and put something else up on it. So that was kind of one part in the beginning. And then the second one I would say is that, especially, I mean, some of these businesses that we talk to, they do already have a good grasp on how to market themselves and how to create, compelling messages in their offers and promotions. But the ones that don't, that's where we really say like, hey, we're gonna work with you one-on-one. Like I tell them all the time, like, I'm gonna be your account manager. Like, if you need me like day or night, they'll call me up at like 10 o'clock at night. I could be having a beer or two, and like I'll hop on the phone with them and just talk to them. Cause like, I mean, that's, especially with these people that are struggling, that could be the only time of the day that they have time to talk.
yep.
So, I try to make that really clear and transparent in the beginning so they feel like, hey, I'm not just selling you something. Like, okay, this guy's actually on my side. Like, he's actually trying to help me. Because when I was doing sales for Home Advisor, I never felt like anyone that I sold to had that connection with me. They always felt like it was just like transactional. So that's really something that I was trying to change when we started selling businesses with the WithYou app.
Oh, I agree. I think it's very important that, like we play as an advisor role instead of just, use like, hey, you pay me, I promote your business sort of thing. Well, thank you so much for answering all of our questions. And Spencer, I think that's really all my questions as well. And so as far as the next step, we will definitely share the videos with our group, and we want to make a quick decisions. Of course, without their involvement, we can't make an executive decision. Oh, this is a company we're gonna work with. But frankly, we really like your business idea and what you do, especially the whole campaign about shop local and support local sort of thing. So yeah, from with that being said, like do you have any questions for us? Like, Ben?
No, I mean, yeah, it was very nice meeting you guys, and I feel like we had a good conversation. If you have any other questions about the business or our sales process or sales strategies that we have in place, or like where we would want to go with them, obviously I know we'll get into that once we start working together and stuff like that. But if you have any questions in the meantime, yeah, just shoot me an email. I'm usually on my phone like 24/7, so I can always respond. And then, yeah, we can go from there. And then once you do hear back from your other teammates, just let me know and we can set up another call or whatnot and get the ball rolling.
For sure. Yeah, based on our past interaction, I was very impressed on how fast you get back to me. So I really appreciate that, and I'm sure all of our team are appreciating that as well. So yeah, we'll definitely try to have an internal conversation as soon as possible, and and get back to you as soon as possible. Because we really value your time and know you have a bunch of things to do. So yeah, what do you think, Spencer?
Yeah, I think it sounds like a plan. Yeah, now we just gotta, run through it. But yeah, this has been a great call, and looking forward to staying in touch.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, nice getting to meet you guys, and thanks for talking today. And yeah, just let me know if anything comes up.
All right.
Yeah,
Thank you so
will
much,
do.
man.
Take care, all.
Perfect.
All
Take
right.
care. See ya.
Bye.